Good morning to you. You're watching Fox and Friends First, about 4 a.m. here on the East Coast on this Wednesday morning. I'm Heather Childers, and as always, we appreciate you joining us. It is full steam ahead, as you just heard right there, for some of the House Republicans, just days before they plan to vote on President Trump's historic tax plan. This, as the Senate announces a big change to their plan that's making some Democrats, as you can expect, furious. Like, what doesn't? Griff Jenkins joins us now live to break it all down for us. Good morning, Griff. What's the latest?
Good morning, Heather. Quite a big surprise here in Washington. Just when you thought the effort to repeal Obamacare was dead, Senate Republicans shot Capitol Hill and announced they're taking another swing at it. Majority Leader Mitch McConnell announcing that they will insert the individual mandate repeal in the Senate's tax plan. But House Republicans, who are set to vote on their tax plan tomorrow, will not include the Obamacare repeal. At an exclusive town hall last night on Fox News, Speaker Ryan explained why.
Obviously, we're in favor of repealing the individual mandate, but we didn't want to needlessly complicate the passage of tax reform, given we did not have the votes before to get this through the Senate. So we want to see the Senate go first and see if they can get that done, and then we'll discuss whether or not it gets included at the end.
Now, the other problem for Ryan is that House leadership has already whipped the bill, which they are confident will pass tomorrow, despite some differences with members in high tax states upset with the SALT elimination. And now adding anything new would jeopardize that passage. And don't expect Democrats to play a role. Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi says this bill is disastrous for the middle class.
This tax plan is predicated on a budget that does violence to our country's future, as well as to the well-being of America's working families.
And last night, Speaker Paul Ryan responded to that criticism.
Let's stop picking winners and losers. Let's get rid of a lot of these discrete loopholes, which are disproportionately enjoyed by very high-income people. It's the people who itemize. And just use that money to lower rates across the board.
All right, so where do things stand, Heather? As for the Senate bill, that's currently sitting in the Finance Committee, where it's expected to pass out of committee at some point this week. Then, if both chambers can pass their bills, then and only then they could try and compromise the two into one, and that's when the House includes this Obamacare repeal in a final bill.
So what I'm hearing there is a lot more work to be done. That's what I'm hearing you're saying. Yeah.
A lot more work to be done. Votes in the House tomorrow, maybe in the Senate next week.
Yeah, maybe. All right. Thank you very much, Griff. Appreciate it. Well, a number of Americans, as you can imagine, they're worried that under the new plan, their taxes will go up. Watch what happens when our very own Martha McCallum asks a studio audience in that exclusive town hall with Speaker Paul Ryan whether they had any concerns.
I want to ask for a show of hands. If you are in this group tonight and you think that you might end up actually paying more under this plan, raise your hands.
Well, a number of people raising their hands. Mark Thiessen, American Enterprise Institute scholar, says that while Paul Ryan may have sold the tax plan well, this is a big problem for Americans.
I think he did a great job of selling his plan. The problem he faced were all those people, when you asked your audience, how many of you think your taxes are going to go up? And a lot of hands went up. This is a big problem for the Republicans if people think that their taxes are going to go up under this bill. When I worked for George W. Bush, when he was pushing the Bush tax cut in 2001, he was able to go out and say, every American will get a tax cut. Paul Ryan couldn't say that tonight. He said the average American will see, in every income bracket, will see their taxes go down. But that means some of them will see their taxes go up. When no American in this country should ever be able to utter the words, Republicans raised my taxes. And that's the problem that they are dealing with in selling this bill.
Well, congressional Republicans still aiming to get the tax legislation to President Trump's desk by the end of the year, which you heard Griff say earlier. Well, Attorney General Jeff Sessions in other news testifying in a fiery House hearing, vowing that he never lied under oath about Russia. But the nation's top law enforcement official won't say whether Hillary Clinton will face a brand new investigation over that Uranium One deal. Jackie Ibanez is here now to take us through that testimony. Good morning, Jackie. What's the latest?
Hey, good morning, Heather. Well, Attorney General Jeff Sessions not revealing all of his cards just yet when it comes to Hillary Clinton, but what he is making clear, he never lied about his contacts with Russia during the Trump presidential campaign.
In all of my testimony, I can only do my best to answer your questions as I understand them and to the best of my memory. But I will not accept and reject accusations that I have ever lied That is a lie. Let me be clear. I have at all times conducted myself honorably.
In a marathon hearing with the House Judiciary Committee, Sessions fiercely putting an end to any confusion for Democrats about previous statements on contact between the Trump campaign and Russian officials.
You're accusing me of lying about that? I'd say that's not fair, Mr. Jeffries. I would say that's not fair, colleagues.
As for if a special counsel should be appointed to look into the Clinton Foundation and the uranium one, well, a deal that gave Russia control of a big part of the U.S. uranium market when Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State, that door not closed just yet.
Do I have your assurance that these matters will proceed fairly and expeditiously?
Yes, you can, Mr. Chairman, and you can be sure that they will be done without political influence, and they'll be done correctly and properly.
The Department of Justice has since put out a statement to further explain Attorney General Jeff Sessions' comments. It says, quote, the Attorney General was clarifying the legal basis for appointing special counsel, not passing judgment on whether it applied in any specific investigation. Republicans also pushing for Sessions to appoint a special counsel to investigate James Comey and that unverified Trump dossier. Heather?
All right, Jackie Banya is live for us this morning. I'm sure a lot more to come on this front.
Yes,
right.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Nice to have you. Well, after Sessions' testimony, still no answer on whether a special counsel would be appointed to look into Hillary Clinton and the Uranium One deal. Congressman Matt Gaetz says that people are fed up over the special rules set for the Clintons.
Just like you're frustrated, Sean, we're frustrated. We've been calling for 3.5 months for an investigation into these scandals because if we allow them to continue, we erode the rule of law. This is what makes the American people sick. This notion that there is one set of rules for the Clintons and another set of rules for everybody else. And you look at this investigation. Well, we look at this investigation, you've got the very people who may have been involved in keeping information from Congress, keeping information from the CFIUS process, but they're in the process of investigating the President of the United States. They're undermining our democracy now when they very well may be witnesses to the actual collusion with one of the participants in the 2016 election, Hillary Clinton.
Well, don't miss Congressman Matt Gaetz. He will be live this morning right here on Fox and Friends, and that is coming up at 5:15. And now to this Fox News alert. A massive manhunt underway for a violent psychopath killer after escaping from a mental hospital. Randall Saito was found not guilty in a brutal 1979 murder by reason of insanity. Well, hospital officials in Hawaii say that they don't know how he got out, but surveillance cameras show him walking out and then jumping into a cab.
And they can flight that.
Well, Saito then chartered a plane to Maui under a different name before flying to San Jose, California, where his family lives. And staying in California, some new information this morning on why gunmen opened fire at 7 different locations, including a school, killing 4 people. Well, California police say that officials quickly locked down Rancho Tehama Elementary School after hearing some gunshots nearby. The unidentified shooter then rammed his car into a fence and then opened fire on the building before trying to break in, but thankfully it was locked. He then became frustrated, and they say that he drove his car randomly shooting at people on the street before being shot and killed by police. Authorities say that it started with a dispute with a neighbor.
This is an individual that armed himself, I think with the motive of getting even with his neighbors. And when it went that far, he just went on a rampage.
10 people, including 2 children, are injured. Well, Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore continues to deny sexual misconduct allegations despite losing GOP support.
What do you think I'm going to do? Why do you think they're giving me this trouble? Why do you think I'm being harassed by media and by people pushing forward allegations?
Well, that was Moore speaking last night after the RNC pulled its fundraising agreement amid some allegations from 5 women, including one who was 14 at the time. But a poll by Fox 10 in Alabama shows Moore ahead of opponent Doug Jones by 6 points. 8% are undecided. Meanwhile, Alabama voters say that they're getting fake robocalls claiming to be from a Washington Post reporter offering women thousands of dollars for damaging information against Moore. With the Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, landing in Myanmar just hours ago, he is meeting with the country's top leaders to talk about the country's humanitarian crisis. The government there accused of ethnic cleansing by military force, causing more than 600,000 Muslim citizens to flee. Well, some U.S. senators are calling for economic sanctions and travel restrictions. And those 3 UCLA basketball players, they're back on U.S. soil this morning. Their last names are Ball, Hill, and Riley, and they were detained for nearly a week in their hotel room in China after allegedly shoplifting. The terms of their release are not known, but the university could still punish them and may not let them play in their season opener at home tonight. President Trump personally asking the Chinese president to help resolve the case during his trip to Asia. Well, the time right now is about 12 minutes after the top of the hour, and a Fox News alert. Serial killer strikes again. A Florida neighborhood on edge as a 4th person is mysteriously murdered.
This has got to stop, and we will hunt this person down until we find them.
Our next guest is a former homicide detective, Ted Williams, taking a closer look at the case up next. Plus, 6 foreigners with ties to terror slipping through the system. The brand new proof America needs President Trump's extreme vetting policies now more than ever. And they're back and exploding once again. The brand new warning about hoverboards just ahead of the holidays. Welcome back to Fox and Friends First. A Fox News alert for you. Some fresh fears of a potential serial killer rocking a Florida neighborhood as a 4th person is mysteriously murdered. A 6-year-old man, he was on his way to help feed the homeless. He did that every morning. He was shot and killed in broad daylight. And police now believe that his death is linked to 3 October murders that occurred in the same Tampa neighborhood. So are investigators piecing together the clues at all? I mean, what's the progress that they're making on this? Here now to weigh in on that is former homicide detective and Fox News contributor Ted Williams. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, Ted.
My pleasure.
So this latest murder brings the number to 4. And this happened around, 5 a.m. yesterday. The man, he normally worked construction. He was out of a job. He was volunteering at a homeless shelter there in the area, walking there when this happened. Tell us what we know so far that brings these 4 together.
Well, you know, this is so sad, Heather. This is law enforcement's worst nightmare of trying to put and composite together a profile of who is committing this crime. And what we've so far learned is that this man yesterday morning was walking to this place that he was going to be serving food, and he was killed. Now, what we have, there was an eyewitness who saw a black male, approximately 6 feet tall, light skinned. That is going to help law enforcement tremendously in this investigation. What is going to break this case are the citizens in that community and a possible mistake by this killer.
But there is a little bit of a difference, though, because the 3 previous murders, they happened after these individuals had gotten off the bus, and they also happened in the evening. But as a result of that, they believe the discrepancies in time that the suspect may live somewhere in the area or maybe hiding in the area.
Absolutely. I would have to believe that this person lives somewhere in the area. The common thread is that this happened at night. Now, the latest one happened early in the morning, but it was still while it was dark out.
That's true.
So they are clearly looking looking at individuals who perhaps maybe just got out of jail, someone who has some kind of a mental problem. But I would have to believe that law enforcement believes that he lives in the community, and he could very well be someone homeless. So they are asking for help from the community to bring this person to justice.
I understand they're asking people that live in the community to check their own weapons, if they have them, any guns in their house, make sure that they are secured and they're not missing. They're also asking children who live within this specific perimeter to not go out to bus stops and to stay home. So obviously residents on alert, and you say that they may be the key in breaking this?
Oh, absolutely, Heather. Somebody knows something in that community. When you have this kind of activity over a period of time, sooner or later, what law enforcement are looking at is for that person to make a mistake, and he will make a mistake. And the fact about it is, now that they're looking at a light-skinned black 6-foot-tall individual that somewhat fits the description of the person of interest that they've been looking at, this helps them tremendously, and they will bring this person to justice sooner or later.
Yeah, I know the mayor of Tampa said this is personal. This has got to stop, certainly, before any other lives are lost. Ted, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We always appreciate your insight.
My pleasure.
Well, the time now is about 20 minutes after the top of the hour, and a popular party game jumping off store shelves and right into liberal politics. The move, Cards Against Humanity, that's what it's called, just made, to try and stop President Trump's border wall. And do you remember when CNN took aim at our commander-in-chief with this ad campaign?
This is a distraction. But while the distraction might grab your attention, it will never change the fact that this is an apple.
Well, Carly Shimkus here live with what is trending up next. Well, do you remember when CNN took aim at President Trump, launching the ad campaign Facts First? Well, they're now taking that one step further.
This is a distraction. But while the distraction might grab your attention, it will never change the fact that this is an apple.
Well, social media not impressed. Carly Shimkus with Fox News Headlines 24/7. Sirius XM 115 is here with the outrage online. Good morning, Carly.
Good morning. That's right. So CNN created some buzz last month for their Facts First campaign, which featured an image of an apple and a voiceover guy encouraging people not to be misled from the truth. Well, that ad was seen as a clear swipe at President Trump, who oftentimes calls CNN fake news. Well, as you just saw, they created an update to that ad to involve chattering teeth, which is supposed to represent a distraction. But Trump supporters are now biting back. Hostin says, and you don't provide any facts, hashtag fake news. The president does. Tucker tweeted, it's like CNN is asking to be made fun of, saying something like this, or they have the most insane case of denial ever in history. And another Twitter user says, this is funny. They're trying so hard when all they have to do is just report the news. So, Heather, that ad campaign continues on into November.
Well, or you could say the chattering teeth could turn the apple into the core.
That's true.
Get to the core of the issue.
That is very meta.
Maybe,
I love that.
Yeah.
Very, very smart.
I was an English major. What can I say? All right, so socialists at Kent State, they refused to take part in capitalist versus socialist food drive.
Yeah, a canned food drive became controversial at Kent State University. So two capitalist groups invited socialist students to a canned food face-off to kind of bury the political hatchet for the greater good. Well, the socialist students denied that request, issuing this tweet. They say, well, this event would benefit the public greatly. We at Young Democratic Socialists of America do not work with organizations that promote or endorse figures who do promote sexism, racism, homophobia, transphobia, Zionism, or any other intolerant, dangerous belief. Therefore, it is against our principles to work with either capitalist groups. Yikes. The socialist students also said that the reason we have food drives to begin with is because of capitalism. So this whole situation is really creating a lot of buzz on social media. One Twitter user says, I suggest that the socialist groups be given a one-way trip to Venezuela so they can fully experience and embrace the joys of socialism.
Yeah. Things not going well in Venezuela right now.
No, not at all.
So we talked a little bit about this going on yesterday at this Chick-fil-A in Georgia. As many chicken nuggets as you can eat, and one man decided to live tweet it.
Yeah, so, a lot of people, some people inspire through art, others through athletic achievements. A guy named Robbie Callan decided to do so by eating 82 chicken nuggets. Let's take a look at his progress. There, 12 gone. Then he reached all the way to 69. That's his 69th nugget. Did he reach 82? Yes, he did. He was successful. So we here at Fox and Friends, Robbie, we commend you.
Right. So one more than Kobe's career high.
That's
right.
What he was
one
going
more
for. Nugget than Kobe's career high in points.
Yes. So did he win? That's what I wonder.
I think he just won pride, social media pride.
Yes.
And a full belly.
Thank you, Carly.
Thanks
and mentioned by you.
That's
no less.
Thanks a lot.
Well, the time now is about almost 30 minutes after the top of the hour. And President Trump's tough talk during his trip to Asia already producing some results. The move Congress just made to help combat North Korea. And for all the voters still crying over Hillary Clinton's election loss, here's your next vacation destination. An anti-Trump hotel marketing itself as a safe haven for liberals. Good idea or just another way to divide America? We debate it up next. We are back with a Fox News alert. Americans told to shelter in place as troops and armored vehicles patrol the streets of Zimbabwe. This comes as tensions surge around the country. That's that country's longtime president. Amy Kellogg is live for us in Milan with a look at your international headlines for you this morning. Good morning, Amy.
Good morning, Heather. Well, military sources are saying this is not a coup, but rather the rounding up of some corrupt individuals, some criminals, they say, who've been causing economic and social unrest in the country. But, Heather, that is so ironic given the fact that the president of Zimbabwe has been running that country down for over 3 decades. 72% of people there live in abject poverty. The military says this morning that President Robert Mugabe and his family are safe. The unrest surrounding all this was sparked by the removal of the vice president, seen as a threat to the succession plans of Mugabe's wife, Grace, sometimes called Gucci Grace for her extravagant shopping habits. Mugabe is the longest-serving African leader and at 93, the oldest. The Trump administration has pointed out at least 6 foreigners involved in terrorist activity have entered the U.S. under the visa lottery program in recent years. This is the same program that allowed Sayfullo Saipov, the Uzbek immigrant who plowed his truck into people on a bicycle path in lower Manhattan on Halloween, killing 8. One of those who used the same program to go to America, another Uzbek national who's doing a 15-year jail term after pleading guilty to providing material support to ISIS. There is a rising chorus of voices saying this lottery, which attempts to diversify immigration to the U.S., is a failed policy and that the U.S. must return to a merit-based system. Finally, yesterday, the House passed a $700 billion compromise defense policy bill, which allows for military spending above what President Trump has even requested. Included in that budget, more spending for missile defense to counter the North Korean threat. And interestingly, Heather, China has just announced that it is dispatching a high-level diplomat to Pyongyang. First time it's done that in a very long time. No detail given about the visit, but this may be the bearing of fruit after President Trump's visit with Chinese leader Xi Jinping last week in Beijing. Heather.
All right, Amy Kellogg live for us with our international headlines again this morning. Thank you. Well, back at home, it has been their rally cry since President Trump took over the White House.
He should not be the president of the United States of America, and we got to get ready for impeachment.
ImpeachDonaldTrumpNow.com.
Well, now House Democrats are at it again. Congressman Steve Cohen and Congressman Luis Gutierrez leading a new charge today in what might be the broadest effort to impeach the president. They're citing President Trump's response to the deadly white supremacist marches in Charlottesville, Virginia, but have not said on what grounds. And more deadlock in their bribery trial of New Jersey Democrat Senator Bob Menendez. His lawyers now urging the judge to declare a mistrial as jurors return today for more deliberations after several days without a decision. And Menendez is accused of taking free flights and other gifts from Florida doctor Salomon Megyn in exchange for political favors. And here's some fake news for you, courtesy of the Kremlin. Russian intelligence claimed to have proof that the United States is helping ISIS. Only problem is, their evidence is from a video game. Russia's defense ministry posting this photo on social media saying that it shows the U.S.-led coalition helping an ISIS convoy. But people on the internet quickly pointing out that it's a screenshot from this military mobile game that's called AC-130 Gunship Simulator. So that's some fake news for you right there. And the game that's called Cards Against Humanity is releasing an anti-Trump holiday stunt aimed at, they say, saving America.
On the first day of the campaign, Cards Against Humanity purchased acres of land on the U.S.-Mexico border and didn't build a wall on it.
The popular game asking players to donate $15 in exchange for 6 America Savings surprises. One of the gifts, a certificate of the company's purchase of land at the border to help keep the wall from being built. The promotion has already sold out. Well, what is being called the nation's first politically motivated hotel is set to open its doors in Washington, D.C. next year. And the owners say that it's going to be a safe space for liberals. Is this what America really needs? Well, here to debate is Republican strategist Chris Prudhomme and liberal analyst Kathy Aru. Thank you both for joining us this morning.
Thanks.
So let's talk about this. I mean, is no place sacred now a hotel becoming politically inclined? Kathy, I'll start with you.
Well, they're saying that since you have the Trump Hotel in Washington, D.C., that they should have the opposite. They should have something for liberals. Conservatives can go to Trump Hotel, so now the liberals can go to the Eaton Hotel. And they say that the minibar is going to be stocked with activist toolkits and everything you need to know to be an activist.
So forget relaxing on your vacation, right?
Right,
Chris?
exactly.
Chris, what do you think?
So, well, first of all, let me just say this. It's time that American society, that we have to get back to being genuine people. We have to start caring. This, to me, opens up the door for many segregated activities. First of all, the Trump Hotel is not deemed specifically only for conservative individuals. This particular hotel, Eden Workshop, is designed for liberals. It's liberal activities. They have artwork in which we have an artist participate in activities which they will showcase in the windows from the exterior of the hotel. All of this promotes and incites anger, promotes from opposing parties. To me, it's just not a way we bring America together. It's time to end the divide and stop being divisive. Catherine Lowe, the owner of the hotel, had just told Bloomberg that this is not intended to bring the left and the right together. Well, it's time to bring America together. That's what President Trump and others always talk about, is bringing America together.
I cannot imagine anything worse than getting into your bed and seeing your sheets. From what I understand, your sheets are going to tell you how to contact your local congressman.
Right. Yeah, that's the whole point. It's a themed hotel, and the theme is anti-Trump. The theme is, come on, liberals. We know you're visiting Washington, D.C. You may not be happy with the vibe, how it feels, because everyone knows with every administration, the vibe of D.C. changes. So it feels very Republican, conservative, right-wing. So now they're going to have a safe haven, a themed hotel for liberals.
See, now I tend to disagree with that, though, really? Chris. I mean, Kathy, do you really think that Washington, D.C. right now is pro-President Trump?
You feel it, absolutely. I've covered a few administrations. And you could feel the vibe change in the city. It felt very Texas with Bush. It felt very Chicago, Illinois with Obama. So, yeah, it feels very Trump right now.
Chris, do you agree?
No, I certainly don't. And I think at the end of the day, it certainly is not that way. And this is not how we're going to bring America together. This is not how we're going to continue to get things done. What kind of example are we setting for our kids, children that are going to be coming on college trips, high school trips? Do we say to them, oh, well, just go stay at the Eden Workshop Hotel where you can be who you want to be? Like, no, we have to start to work together. This is a hotel, and the owner, Catherine Lowe, has really been adamant about not working together. This is not designed for conservatives. Look, a person should not have to feel when you walk into a location that you're not
welcome. Yeah,
absolutely right. So if that's the case, let's just really be upfront. If that's the case, we're opening up the door for enhanced segregated activity. So then we then say, well, Black Lives Matter can have theirs, the white nationalists can have theirs. No, this is opening up the door for much conversation that is extremely unnecessary, and it's dividing America apart. We are not setting an example for our children across America, and frankly are not setting an example for getting back to what's important most, which is what God wants us to be, is working together together, being nice to each other as human beings.
Reading through all this, I was wondering, though, and we have to wrap up, where she said, the owner, she said that she likens the hotel to a nonprofit, but better. So I'm wondering, in terms of funding, is she going to try to get some government funding for all of this? That'll be interesting to find out.
What?
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you both for joining us, Chris, Kathy. Have a great day.
Thanks.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, the time now is about 20 minutes until the top of the hour, and sex change surgery for transgenders on your dime, the deal that you didn't agree to. And forget hackers, it's children that you need to worry about. The security problems with Apple's iPhone X. That cute little faces are actually cracking.
You know, they say you can get 4 glasses of wine out of 1 bottle. I only get like 1.5.
1 glass or 4. It's okay. Go ahead and indulge the brand new diet wine that is worthy of a toast this morning, they say. Welcome back. Outrage brewing after an active duty service member received gender reassignment surgery on the taxpayer's dime. The Pentagon confirming that it was paid for by the military's health coverage because the doctor deemed it, quote, medically necessary. The procedure was done in a private hospital. Gender reassignment surgery can cost up to $50,000, by the way. And then there's this, kind of related, a landmark change coming from the Church of England when it comes to exploring gender identity. In a new directive issued to its nearly 5,000 schools, new guidelines state, quote, a child may choose the tutu, princess's tiara and heels, and or the fireman's helmet, tool belt, and superhero cloak without expectation or comment. Now, the updates are an effort to combat bullying based on sexual orientation. And now to this Fox Business Alert for you. At this hour, nearly 14,000 hoverboards pulled off store shelves just ahead of the holidays because they could explode and burn down your home. Tracy Crosco from our sister network, Fox Business, here with what you need to know. Good morning, Tracy. So more problems for hoverboards.
Yes, you know, if you're thinking about buying someone one of these for the holidays, you might want to think twice. 8 more hoverboard brands have been issued warnings and recalls. There they are on your screen for causing 2 house fires. One of them was fatal. Now, as you said, it is the battery that causes these fires, these hoverboards to explode. And you can take, if you have one of them, you can take it back to the store, get a refund, store credit, or a replacement.
And some problems with the NutriBullet as well. And I was just looking yesterday because someone in my apartment building is selling a NutriBullet. Oh, wow. Maybe this is why.
You know, this is really scary. So right now, 14 people are suing NutriBullet because they say it can burst open. Basically, the speed of the bullets, of the blades, causes heat. And then that heat causes pressure, and then it will detach from the main part of the NutriBullet. So one woman said that she was using it for 20 seconds, and it basically detached. This can cause burns, cuts. NutriBullet says that it doesn't happen, that they're disputing these claims and say that it's caused by user error.
Well, regardless, you don't want to be able to have that type of error for it to be able to happen anyway.
Yeah.
All right, so Weight Watchers, they're debuting a diet wine.
Yes, you know, Weight Watchers, they say that wine is the second most tracked beverage on its app. So they wanted to make something for its users to drink and still enjoy wine. So this is a new wine. It's called Sense. They're introducing a Sauvignon Blanc. It's 85 calories compared to 120 in a normal glass of white wine. And it's $13 to $15 a bottle on store shelves right now.
Huh. Yeah. What about the sugar content, though? That's
you know, I don't know about the sugar content.
Yeah, that's key.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Tracy. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Have a great day.
You too.
Well, it is official. I agree with this. Blake Shelton is named People Magazine's sexiest man alive.
I hang the pictures, you hang the stars. You pick the paint, I'll pick a guitar. Sang you a song out there with the crickets and the frogs.
Well, the tall, blue-eyed country singer saying that his girlfriend of 2 years, Gwen Stefani, convinced him to accept the honor. But he says the real reward will be sticking to his fellow voice coach, Adam Levine, who won the title back in 2013. Well, the time now is about 10 minutes until the top of the hour. And waiting for the weekend to catch up on your sleep, you might be doing more harm than good. The new study that says you may be hurting your heart. And biological big brother, the pill that can now track whether people have taken their medications. Is that a good idea? Dr. Nicole Safir says that the results just don't add up. She is up here live up next.